panel guests, Nadine Lewington, Allison Scagliotti, Leah Voelkel, Levin, and Courtney Bandeko, as well as our guest appearing, Trevor Juarez. For those of you who don't recognize Trevor's face, he did a ton of the monster designs on the shows you know and love, so he's gonna come and chat with us.
Hello, hello, y'all. How y'all doing? Nice.
A bit. Is it chilly in here?
It's a little bit cold. I just got cold.
Oh.
Look at this. The
AC
back there is set to 60 degrees.
It's set to 6.
Why?
Not energy efficient.
Are you guys cold?
Yes.
Cold is good. Cold is good.
Cold is better than hot. For those of you that were during the generator going out in the tent, we all went through that together. That was fun.
I'm wearing leather pants, so I'll take the air conditioning.
Oh, yeah, my ass was sweaty, and now it's no longer, which is nice.
It's a great thing. We love that for you.
Yeah, I do. I love it for myself. Thank you. That is all. Okay, goodbye.
Anyhow, I'm going to jump into a question or two from me and kick these guys off and warm them up. And as soon as that's done, you guys are free to line up and ask fan questions. So get them prepared and ready, and you'll be able to make a line for us. But before we do that, oh, we have to take our photo. Do you guys want us to do the picture? Yes, okay. Before we start talking, I need all of you guys to stand up and pose for our panel photo for these lovely human beings. So sorry, we're supposed to do that first every time. That was my fault. Everybody's tired. All right, amazing. So I wanted to kick off this cool panel because I was looking at all of the names on our list, and you know, there's quite a smattering of legacies, Vampire Diaries, the originals, just like a whole crew. And I was like, what is the thing that I feel like really brings together a lot of the people that are on this panel? And for those of you it's not obvious to, most of them played our queer characters, which is really, really exciting. And Trevor actually directed the episode where Ben first kissed his boyfriend. So it seems like a pretty cool lineup. And if you don't know, it is Pride Month. So happy Pride to those of you it matters to. I was given express permission by Allison to make this the gayest panel possible, so we're in. This is a question just for all of you. For those of you who played queer characters, what is it like taking that responsibility into your work, and how does it feel, and does it change the weight and the responsibility that you bring to a role or not? And for those of you who do not play queer characters or do not have large queer followings, what is it like to experience TV now in this decade and get to see all of that diversity on these shows and the content we're watching?
Are we going in a line, or are we...
You can do whatever makes you happy, Riley.
No, you go. I was going to say, Riley, you go first.
Okay, I'll go first. Yeah, I remember getting the call, and they were like, we're planning on Freya falling in love with a woman. How do you feel about it for the next season? And it was probably the easiest yes I ever had. When I rarely actually got to make decisions, but that one was an easy one. And it was one of the proudest things I ever did. And it made, I think I started noticing at the conventions especially the impact it had. And I think what I loved about Freya and Keelan is it didn't feel like this, I don't know, big, it felt natural and just real, and not like this big thing that Freya was with a woman. It was just love. And I loved that. And so it was one of the best things I did. And yeah. Just so proud of it.
I echo the same thing. That's exactly how I felt too about my character. I felt like it was very organic the way that my character Jed became bisexual, and yeah, that was an easy yes, for sure. Representation matters, we know that. And so yeah, of course. And my brother's queer, and it was just like such an honor to sort of tell that story with the actor Zane Phillips, who is gay, and it was, yeah, it was really important. And the fact that Trevor here on the stage directed this episode, like, that was probably my favorite episode on the show. And yeah, it's super important. So yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, and I'll piggyback on that, you know, rep matters, and I always thought that the most refreshing thing about the way TVD depicts queer characters is they're just there. It's not, the queerness isn't necessarily commented on, but it's there, and it just does so much to normalize it. It's like, oh great, you're dating a man, great, you're dating a woman, and then we can move on, and then get back to fighting the real monsters.
Yeah, love that.
And you knew you were playing queer coming in. They like grew into it later. So your easy yes was out the gate.
Oh yeah.
I'll slide into this chat.
Let's go.
Hi, Allison. Nice to meet you. Did not have the fun of playing queer on TVD. My character flirted mercilessly with Alaric to no avail. But I got to, I was on a show called Stitchers, and it was a show that didn't have like any queer representation. And so I want to preface this by saying that I love and respect the work of writers and that I've never done this before. I just started saying in interviews that my character was bisexual because I figured I could back them into a corner and make it happen. And it worked!
Well done.
Because to go to everybody's point about how representation matters, of course it matters, and not just to the queer community to feel seen and supported and represented by the stories they love, but also as a safe form of exposure for folks who maybe don't meet a lot of queer people in their community. It's easy to fear what you don't know. But when a character that you have a passive relationship with because they're in your living room every week suddenly exposes you to this thing, maybe you get to realize there is nothing to fear here. So it's a gift to be trusted, to play these characters and to use them as a force for good.
Very well said.
Sorry.
Are you looking at me?
Either three more of you left, so jump in whenever you want.
Everyone is looking at you. Your vision.
Everybody's looking at me. Oh my god.
Let's go, Nadine.
Well, you know, I didn't play a queer character. I won't go into my own sort of.
Maybe just a queer icon, though.
Oh really? Oh, that'd be
Why not?
nice. I'd love it. But I am a mother, and my children are not aware that there's any difference between boyfriends, girlfriends. They might marry a man, they might marry a woman. They're too young to really, think about it seriously, obviously, but they don't see any difference in it. And I just think that that's beautiful. And I think that part of media and entertainment's job is to make those things normal and okay, and just make the world a better place. So I see it happening in my house. So that's nice.
That's beautiful.
Thank you for raising your children that way. That's amazing.
I mean, and the difference between growing up for me, like when we were growing up, there was like a whole campaign you had to tell people, like, don't say gay, like stop saying gay as a derogatory thing. And it kind of, it's interesting being a queer person myself, and the way you internalize it actually comes up, even when you're out, you're like, no, the internalized homophobia that I have of like, ooh, I don't want anyone to know this like secret. And you're like, wait, no, okay, no, I'm fine, actually, people can know. Just to be able to jump over that hurdle, right? I think for the younger generation is just, I'm excited to see what that results in as a world, right? And I think that, yeah, being able to see queer characters on screen for myself, I think, growing up, that would have made it a lot easier for me to feel more comfortable with myself, So thanks, guys.
Trevor, talk to us about
Yeah.
directing that experience.
Yeah, I mean, one of the coolest things about our episode with, Ben and Zane was that it was a romantic storyline that we knew coming in to the season that we were kind of setting up. And so I was just very lucky enough to make sure that in my episode we got to have the first like real romantic kiss and romantic kind of encounters, and we got to really just honor that and help honor the love of the two of them, And I think I know especially for Zane being a gay individual, it was just a really important part of the story to tell. And then we all have different experiences, and I think even for myself it felt very important, and I was just happy to be a part of it.
That was amazing. I think I can speak for you guys and correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like it was a really good environment to bring queerness into. Like the higher ups were always very supportive of that stuff, and I always felt really welcome to do it. Like the first episode I wrote on Legacies it literally opened with Josie and Finch making out in a closet. I like gathered all my family to watch it, and everybody was sitting down. I was like, okay, play, and everybody was like, yeah, this tracks. But it was so comfortable and fun, and it never felt like something we were like forcing in or trying really hard to do. Everybody was just kind of naturally being like, this feels like the right way. And it was great. Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you for answering that slightly more serious question. I'm going to ask you a lighter one that's similarly themed, but looking around, so for me, as a queer person growing up, there were always these relationships on TV long before representation came to thing that you were just like, I wish those two characters would kiss. I mean, I spent a long time watching the originals when I was younger, long before I got my job, and being like, what if Haley and Rebecca dated? Like, just, like random ones. Are there any relationships in the TVD universe or in other shows you've watched growing up that you were like, man, those two characters had chemistry? I would play with that. I would like to see that. Like, I'm a big Cleo and Hope fan as well. Just mixing it up,
Rachel and Monica.
Yeah!
Where was that story?
Rachel and Monica.
She's thought about
That was
this
the first,
before.
yeah. That was easy. Yeah.
Amazing.
I'd like to see that.
You don't have to all have an answer, but if you do, feel free to share.
That one is I feel like that happens often though, where you're like, what character, like, I saw Miss Congeniality recently, and you're like, wait, I'm sorry, she ends up with a man in what world?
Queer film.
This is one of the gayest women I've ever seen in my life. She like comes in, she's like, oh fine, I'll wear a dress, It's like fully hitting on the girl.
Well, you don't have to.
Yeah. And then she ends up with, what's his name? The guy who's also kind of an asshole. You're like,
Benjamin Bratt, I think. Right?
Yeah. I just don't see that. I feel like there was, and there's also there was one character in Miss Congeniality where she comes out as a lesbian, and everyone's like, oh my gosh, and it's like, okay, but
You were right there. You were so close.
I mean, let's talk about how Sandra Bullock is very gay in that movie. Yeah.
I support that entirely.
So we're queer shipping now.
We're just
happening.
like Buffy and Faith.
Okay.
I was like ready. Thank you.
This might be the wrong room for this, but
Let's go. Let's hear it.
Tony Soprano and Syl.
Oh my God, yes.
Amazing.
I feel like 30% of you are with me on that. Okay, all right.
I'm with you,
I got
Allison.
another one.
All right, Ben's ready.
Jerry Seinfeld and Kramer.
Yes.
Can we say the merman and the necromancer? Is that?
Yes. Didn't he spit at him in? No, he spit at.
Spit at Alaric.
Yeah. I mean that too. All right, let's go for it. You gotta have one.
Walter White, Jesse Pinkman, or Walter White, Gustavo? Ooh, the Los Pollos Hermanos owner guy?
Yeah,
I'm listening.
that'd be hot.
Absolutely.
I'm listening.
I go for that.
Gotta do a break.
Amazing. Thank you so much, guys. If any of the fans have questions, we will happily pass the mic to someone who's putting these guys on the spot much less than I am.
I was just gonna say Thelma and Louise.
Beautiful. That's a perfect
yes.
answer.
Obviously. Yeah.
Please.
Great one.
Please. Where was that scene?
Bart Simpson and
Where
Milhouse.
was the scene? I think I went down in my head.
Right. You're like,
I think I actually saw it, but I didn't.
Do people hear?
You're like,
Yeah, everyone here, Bart and Milhouse, come on.
My completely
Shit cartoons.
my completely unqueer queer icon is Madonna in A League of Their Own. She's just like really going for it, and That was the one.
Love. We were just talking about that movie.
It's a great
We were, actually.
great film. Let's go, guys.
We could.
Hi, I'm Caitlin.
Hi, Caitlin.
My question is for Leah. It's not, I'm over here, hi. It's not Vampire Diaries or Originals related. I wanted to ask you about the Jodi Arias movie and how you prepared for that.
Oh, wow. That's, Tanya actually probably, she played Jodi Arias, and I was so impressed with her performance. And I played like the nice girlfriend, right? That if he had stuck with me, I think that's not that actually is a real story. I forgot that was a true story for a second. But to prepare for it, I think I read about the events, and she, I think that she was more like a normal girl, like a sweet girl, but really I was just so impressed with Tanya's performance.
Thank you.
My name is Violet, and I was going to ask, who is y'all's favorite friendship in the TVD universe?
Friendship in the TVD universe.
I really liked Alaric and what's Ian Somerhalder's character? Damon.
Does anybody know that guy?
So sorry, did I just hear that name?
What is that guy's name?
That's fine. You don't need it.
The blue-eyed one.
Dark hair.
So I was the boom operator on Vampire Diaries, and the scene where Matt Davis, Alaric, dies for the first time in the crypt with Damon there, I started crying. Like it was so good. Like that is my favorite friendship as well in the series.
Love a bromance.
I really loved Freya and Elijah's friendship. Even though I know they're brother and sister, but I felt like when those two were working together, I don't know, some of my favorite scenes. I feel like it's underrated.
My favorite was Davina and Steven and Josh.
Yes, and
Davina
Josh.
That was so
And Josh
cute.
and Aiden.
Yeah, well,
loved both of them
I
too.
know, that was sad.
That was really sad.
It's really sad.
Those are great ones, actually, yeah.
I also, Danielle and the actor who played Aiden, they're still together.
They are.
Love happens.
Engaged. It does.
I know. Isn't that beautiful?
It is beautiful.
I credit myself, actually.
I think you should.
Yeah. I think I'm the reason.
Yeah.
No one's going to tell you no.
They should name their child after me.
I think so.
I mean, a middle name at the very least, right?
No, I want the first
I
name.
was gonna say.
You're
Middle
entitled
name.
to the first name.
I'm
but,
entitled to the first name.
Things
I'm gonna go
happen.
middle?
I'm just saying, sometimes in negotiations
Okay,
you
all
have
right,
to
fine.
kind of
Okay.
best and final.
If it's Riley Leah, I'm gonna be pissed.
Pissed.
I'll just say Damon and Enzo.
Actually a pretty name.
There you go. Yeah.
Out of the things I've seen.
I'd say MG and Ethan off Legacies. Remember they had a nice little buddy vibe? I like that. They were great friends.
It absolutely ripped on all of our hearts. And he's like, do you remember?
Thank you.
Thank you.
No problem.
Wait, Court, what was yours?
I went first.
You went first? Oh yeah, you said Damon.
And I embarrassed myself.
Hi, I'm Cameron. My question is for Leah. So, if Cammie's story had gone differently and maybe Klaus had forced her hand, how do you think she would have navigated maybe being a vampire and being more involved in that world?
That's a good question. Obviously, I think she had, she was really conflicted about becoming a vampire. And then once she became a vampire, all hell broke loose for a second there. Mood. She really went for it. And then kind of righted the course a little bit. I think if she were to continue, in a way, I actually think it would have I don't know if she would have enjoyed it, actually. You know, I think she would have been really struggling with her, like, own moral compass. So,
She was good.
she was a good person.
Yeah, she was a good person.
And she wanted to be a good person, and I think being a vampire, you kind of have to be a little bit bad. I don't know if you guys know this, but they, like, you know, kill people and all that. And then, you know, just like to have to kill people for eternity, I think she would have been a little bit like, man, I'm a therapist, I shouldn't be doing this.
Feels wrong.
That does something to you over the years, I think.
You have ethical
Thank you.
concerns. How do you continue your therapy practice if you're
I know,
also
exactly.
draining people of their...
Could you imagine though, like, yeah, you're a therapist, right? And now you're a vampire?
That's
like,
a show in itself.
It feels like a conflict of interest.
The
if I'm being
vampire
totally honest.
therapist.
Well, she was a therapist to Klaus, and then, you know, and I think there was some ethics problems there from the jump. I don't think you're supposed to do that.
She was a good person. She wasn't an ethical person. It's different.
Yeah. She wanted to be good, but, you know, she kind of missed the mark a
There
few
was a man on
times.
the couch. Things happen.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Hi, my name is Mario. First, I'd just like to thank you guys. This is my first convention, and you've made this a blast for me.
Thank you.
It's been great. My question is not show specific. I'd like to know from anybody, when was that moment, that second grade play or high school musical, when you said, that's what I want to do?
Oh, that's lovely.
It was the only thing I was good at. And we like to do things that we're good at. Showing off was my thing.
That's why I do it.
Yeah, that was it. And when everyone's like, oh yeah, that's your thing, you're like, okay, that's my thing. Yeah.
I remember being I'm from New York City, and I went to, yeah, New York, let's go. Yes, I was in West Side Story, I think freshman year of high school. And I remember I had the worst part you can get. He has a character called Moose. There's like an equal number of jets and sharks. I was like the tacked on last shark. And all I did was dance, and that's my least favorite thing to do in the theater world. And even with that, I remember like loving being on that huge stage. And I remember vividly going like, I could see myself doing this, even in this small role. And I think that really kicked off, kind of a love affair with attention, I guess, in that way. But also giving yourself to a project. So you're there servicing the story, and you know, what better than West Side Story. So yeah, that was great.
I'm so jealous that all of you guys grew up doing theater. I had a non-conventional way into the industry. I was a softball player and going to be a structural engineer in college. And that was my life. I wasn't in one play. I wasn't in theater at all. I mean, in retrospect, I was performative a little bit, but I didn't know that was a real option. I don't think I even knew that was a possibility. I was listening to the radio in my Jeep in my hometown, and they had an open casting call in my small town, and I decided to go on a whim, and that led me to a really risky decision of dropping my scholarships and not going to play softball in college and not going to study engineering. And I said, I'm gonna give myself 1 year in LA. I'm just gonna see what happens. And it was for modeling at the time, but I kept booking commercials. And then my modeling agency, which I wasn't really fulfilled in, was like, have you ever thought about acting? And I was like, that's like, I don't know, it's like a dream job. And they were like, you should take an acting class. And so I did, and it was that day, and it sounds cheesy, but it was that first acting class, I think I was like 18, that I was watching people perform, and I was performing and not knowing what I was doing at all. And that day I said, I'm gonna do this the rest of my life. I don't care if I make money at it or anything, but I felt the fulfillment I was missing, and I just fell in love with it. And yeah, it's kind of how then I just got lucky. There was just some luck. Yeah.
I would say I was like 8, maybe 8. And my mom's boss at the time got us tickets to see Glenn Close in Sunset Boulevard. And that's it's a weird thing to look back on, me being 8 years old and looking at Glenn Close being completely unhinged on stage and being like, I want to do that.
Core memory unlocked.
What?
Core memory unlocked.
No, but it's, I mean, it was more like, I mean, it's something that I, to this day, like, that was the moment where I was like, I want to do that. And watching someone that level of talent, was just so mesmerizing. And I'm not saying, that I've reached that, but the goal to be that, like, whatever, she was like, yeah, she was so free and so willing to just be gross and off-putting, and I mean, Glenn Close is so amazing at that, and I wanted to do that too. So, I guess that's that. Cammy's not pretty far away from that, but
Thank you.
Well, for me, it was high school. It was I did a one act, Stephen Gregg's one act. And then it was one of my first times ever on stage, and I just remember having this feeling that I just had never felt more myself and more at home working on a character and diving into a script, and then I just kind of never looked back. I just always been sort of obsessed with doing that. And then I have an inherent curiosity about people, and then it's the same with the characters. I'm always like, who are you? What are you about?
Courtney is a knowledge sponge, like anywhere you go. She's like, tell me about that. How do I learn how to do that? I want to learn the way you think. Like, she's always just like trying to learn things. It's fascinating to watch. Trevor, what about you directing?
Yeah, I think it really spawned early on from movies like The Wizard of Oz and The Never-Ending Story. I love them so much, and then I didn't really realize that was a possibility. I didn't know anyone in the film business at all. But my photography teacher in my junior year was fantastic, and she was like, this is actually a career, you should maybe look into it. And then I just like set my sights, like that was it. I didn't really prepare for anything else. I was like, I'm going into film, I'm going into TV, I will direct at some point, let's go. And just a lot of belief in myself, I guess, and got me there. So, shout out.
Thank you for the question.
I did not go. Mario, I will answer you.
Oh,
I
I'm so
was
sorry, Allison.
I was 5 in a school production of a masterpiece called Miss Stone Age. It was about a beauty pageant among cave people, and I was cast against type. I wanted to play the mousy smart one, and they cast me to play last year's reigning champion with a single brain cell. And I remember it as if it was yesterday, the experience of being on stage, getting laughs for the first time, and then coming off stage more excited and invigorated than I'd ever been in my long 5 years on the planet. And I tell you, it is the exact same feeling that I get now when I go on stage with my band and I'm playing guitar. It's less about being seen than the exchange of the mutual exchange of energy between performer and audience. That for this, in this, beautiful preserved moment in the present, we are supporting one another. We are exchanging energy, whether it's through sound or storytelling and applause back, or just the feeling that comes back from the audience. I'm not a religious person, but it is how I experience like something so much bigger than me. I could be having the worst day. I could be having an anxiety attack with like bad interpersonal, dynamics going on. But then I step on stage, I take 3 breaths, and I go, why am I here? Because this feels better than anything else. And we're so lucky that we get to do that when we get to do it. Thank you for your question.
Incredible answer.
Wow. Articulate this one.
That was beautiful.
Guys, just a quick heads up, unless I'm crazy, and feel free to shout at me and correct me, we have about 5 minutes left, which means we can probably grab 1 to 2 more audience questions.
I just wanted to say something really quick. First of all, that was such a great answer, but it made me remember when you're on set, you don't get to have that exchange.
Yeah, live is very different than being in the vacuum of a set.
And this experience, just being here with you all, it's so special and magical for all of us to see and meet the people who this show means so much to. It's like, I just want to thank you guys for being so supportive of our crazy, you know, our crazy.
Give it up for yourselves.
Hi, my name's Ashley, and I wanted to ask just anyone, as a queer person and a person trying to get into acting and hopefully just be in something that impacts even just a few people, how do you guys find projects that you're like proud to be a part of?
Yeah. I think they find you, if you're lucky enough. You don't really get an awful lot of choice in that. Does anyone get choice?
We don't get as much choice as it appears always. I would say though, one of the coolest things, especially if you love doing it, is you can do it yourself. You can put something on paper that means something to you, and you can get some friends together and shoot it and never worry about it being small or in the living room or anything like that. Like, performing something that means something to you at any scale is gonna bring you that fulfillment. And then, like Nadine said, like, sometimes you're really lucky and you get to do something that you actually like connect to in your soul, which we all try to, I think, find in our careers. It's one of the best parts for sure.
Yeah, I feel like you have to try to infuse yourself into roles, but yeah, you're never getting to do exactly what you want to do. And I feel like now more than ever, you can really create your own story. And it's something I'm trying to do this year too, is like write something for me, because you know the industry doesn't give you these you know, specific parts that are really as dynamic as you are. So I mean, I really think writing and creating your own stuff is just, there's going to be nothing more soul enriching than that. And everyone out there who's like, you know, wondering how do I get into acting or how do I get into storytelling, I mean, I say the same advice I give myself, which is just start. You know, just start making something and enjoy that process, because there's no compromise there, and you can just you know, give your truth. And I think that's kind of yeah, that's what I love most about performing, is sharing, trying to get as honest as I can be.
And find your community, like find other performers. I find like that's so helpful when you're around other people that love to perform or create. Just find those people, whether it's in class or wherever. They can be really, really motivating and understanding of the same passion.
I'm looking forward to seeing what you do.
Thank you, I really appreciate it. Thanks for answering my question.
I'll give you some concrete, like 2 pieces of technical wisdom. First things first, have a strong sense of self and know what you like. You don't have to say yes to everything. That's a myth, and that's like a bygone thing that we don't have to do anymore. You watch everything, figure out what your taste is, figure out what like really gets you excited and carbonates you. You might discover you love comedy, you might discover you like really indie shoegaze stuff. Whatever you decide like lights you up is the right thing. Also, prescriptive piece of advice, I don't know what area of the world you live in, but find the university, find their film program, and try to collaborate with students. It's a great way to learn how set works, and to like get your chops up and amass like even, you know, proof of your work and what you're out there doing. You don't have to move to LA anymore to have a career as an artist.
Thank you so much.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Are we all tied up on questions? One more? Okay, great.
Hi, I'm Kennedy. Love you guys, you're awesome. My question is, who is your favorite character on the show?
Jed?
You're just saying that. She's just saying that.
I am.
Favorite character on the show? I love Lizzie on Legacies. You know, that was my favorite. I just liked her dry wit, and you know, Jenny Boyd. Shout out to Jenny Boyd. Yeah.
I love everyone, but I'm gonna go with this time. I'm gonna go with Hope, because Danielle is like, she's like a niece to me in real life. I feel like her real Auntie Freya. And so when we had scenes together, it felt very organic because our relationship was very similar in real life.
I think I'm gonna go with Charles Michael Davis.
Yes, good answer.
Yeah, Marcel. When we were screen testing for the originals, Charles, I had no idea Charles was such a warm fuzzy, he's just always on the verge of taking a nap. Because at the screen test, he was walking, he was in character, walking around, he's barking and I was like, oh, this guy's tough, this guy's, whoa. And that character, that really, remember when he used to do that?
Wait, he was barking?
Yeah, he would bark, he would get himself all jazzed up. And honestly, it's because he's just such a fuzzy guy who's truly on the verge of taking a nap at any moment, right? So that he really has to he really has to, he really had to rile himself up for that character. So, I appreciate him because
it's not how he really is.
It's not how he is at all. He put in the work. He deserves it.
You guys got down there?
Oh, from the originals?
From any Vampire Diaries show you want.
Obviously it was Vampire Diaries, obviously it's going to be Enzo, guys.
I think she's biased.
It's a great pick. It's a great pick.
I mean, I've seen every scene that he was in. On and off the screen. So. Yeah, that's my answer. Other than that, if it was originals, because that's the show I was actually in, I would have to say Klaus, because he's a fellow Brit.
I mean, you stole my pop, because Klaus was probably going to be mine, but you already said it, so I don't know. 3 different shows, lots to choose from. I'm going to say, I'm sticking with Klaus. Can't do it. It was great. Fantastic villain. Great hero.
So dynamic. Evil.
Yes, of course.
Okay, so I feel like I got on the wrong tour bus because I haven't seen a whole lot of any of the
That
shows.
happens a bit, you're okay.
I was only on 4 episodes in the final season of The Vampire Diaries, and all of my scenes were with one person who I feel obliged to say, but I just want to give credit to a non-speaking character that really did the heavy lifting, and those are the bandanas that I wore for episodes. They really just, what is there to really say about a bandana doing the heavy lifting?
I mean, that's
of
a
character?
perfect answer.
Alaric, all right. It's Alaric.
Yeah, I mean, you could have pulled a Courtney and just been like, that guy that's the main one. And
The blue-eyed one.
It's fine, you did great.
Who's your favorite character?
Did do great.
Hope.
Hey, yeah, you got the Panda Pound shirt.
Yes.
She's got her legacy shirt on.
Yeah.
Squad. All right, guys, we got to wrap it up. That was amazing. Thank you all very much.
Thanks, everybody.
So
Thank you all for being here tonight.